Okay, here's part two of simplifying radicals. I kind of wanted to put a cube root in here just so we can kind of practice those a little bit. And also, I didn't cover much in class or cover anything much, but I thought of one. What if we had a fraction as a possible choice? So I want to show you something. What happens when you're a fraction of an exponent? What it does. All right. So let's look at our cube root. This is a cube root of 81y squared z cubed z to the fifth. And remember what I told you, the index tells us in groups, so that means I'm going to put them in groups of 3. So I'm going to start with 81. 81 I'm going to factor. I know it's 9 times 9. And then it's 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. Now remember, I want to put them in groups of, I'm going to make groups of 3. So there we are. There's my group of 3. So I automatically know that I'm going to have a 3 on the outside and a 3 on the inside. Remember, the group that's circled goes inside. The group, outside. Outside, whatever's not gets multiplied together and it's inside. Since we only have 1 3, we only have 1 in there. All right, so now look at our y's. All right, so if I have 2 y's and I'm trying to put them in groups of 3, do I have enough? No, I don't. So I'm just going to leave my y to the second inside the box because I don't have enough. But my z's, if I look at my z's, I have 3 of them. All right, and I'm looking for groups of 3, and that's it. That's what I have. So z to the third is going to be, all of those guys are going to be outside. So instead of z to the third outside, we're just going to have one group of z's on the outside. Now my w's. If you think of my w's, I have 5 of those. And I would put them in groups of 3. I have one group of 3 here, and the other I don't. So what goes on the outside? Well, you should think it's w to the first, because how many groups of 3 do I have? I have one group of 3. But how many are remaining? I have 2 of them remaining inside. So we will say y squared on the inside of the radical. So this is actually my answer. Is 3zw times the square root of 3y squared z squared. This is actually my answer. Now, I have another one I want you to try. It's this. What happens if we have an exponent with a power on it? Well, this actually can turn into a radical. A lot of people don't know this. All right, so the first number is my power, and the second number is my index. All right, so this is really what it looks like. It really looks like the cube root, that little 3 goes here, and the 8 to the first power is right there. All right, and so 8 to the first power is 8. And I have a cube root. And again, 8 times 4 times 2, 2, 2, 2. I have a group of 2, so my answer here would be 2. Let's try one which is different. Now don't forget, remember what I said, the power is the top one. That's my power, my exponent. The bottom one is my index. So look at this one. Now this one was going to look like this. The index is a 3, but now we got an 8 square. And 8 square, so we're going to have the cube root, and 8 squared is 64. So now we've got to figure out, take 64 and break it down. 8, 8, 4, 2, 4, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and I want groups of 3, so I got 1 there and 1 there. So that's a group of 2 and another group of 2, which would make, think about it, you got one group of 2 times another group of 2, and together they equal 4. So the cube root of 64 is 4. So otherwise what we're saying is 4 times 4 times 4 is going to equal 64. There are 3 of them, and that's my answer. So that's how you do it with if you have an exponent as a fraction, you can change it into a radical, and you can do that. Just remember, the top one is the power, the denominator is the index.